What is up, guys? Today we're taking a look at this motherboard right here, which is one of the coolest motherboards to come out all year. This is the ASRock Z790 LiveMixer. So let's go ahead and take a look. LiveMixer is a new series from ASRock that's really focused on streamers, content creators, podcasters, and they've definitely made these boards to stand out. We already took a look at the B650 LiveMixer. We'll have that linked in the description. But basically, they made these boards with this sort of graffiti style design, which is really going to stand out. As you can see, this board just looks crazy compared to, the standard motherboards that we're used to. Now for the Z790, they've gone with sort of a purple with white accents. And one thing that's really cool about these boards is they didn't just like paint the heat sinks. The design goes all the way through the PCB to the heat sinks and everything like that. So you are going to get a really cool looking board here. Starting at the CPU socket, we have Intel's LGA 1700 socket, which will support both 12th and 13th generation Intel Core processors. Surrounding the CPU socket are our power delivery components, and ASRock is going with a 14+1+1 power phase design that makes use of smart power stages as well as 12K capacitors. The MOSFETs are rated for 60 amps, so you're going to get a total of 840 amps of power for your CPU, which I think is more than enough for overclock situations with a 12900K as well as a 13900K. Covering these power delivery components, we have two large heatsinks. The larger one actually connects to the rear I/O cover, which really brings the top half of the board together. Hiding in the top corner of the board are your two 8-pin EPS connectors. Moving over to the memory slots, we have four DDR5 slots that support memory as fast as 7200 MHz. Right before these memory slots, you'll find your CPU fan header with your optional CPU fan header towards the top corner of the board. Moving to the top edge of the board, you'll find two 4-pin fan headers, your 24-pin ATX power connection, a USB 3.2 Gen 2x2 header, and a USB 3.2 Gen 1 header. As we move down the board, we find another USB 3.2 Gen 1 header, four SATA 6GB ports, and two 3-pin adjustable RGB headers. The USB header and SATA ports are at a 90-degree angle, so they won't get in the way of your graphics card. At the bottom of the board, you'll find the rest of your headers and connections. So from left to right, you have your HD audio header, Thunderbolt header, another 3-pin addressable RGB header, 4-pin standard RGB header, two 4-pin fan headers, two USB 2.0 headers, a ClearMOS jumper, TPM header, and then your front panel headers. The bottom half of the board is made up of a handful of heatsinks. Two of these cover M.2 slots. The top heatsink covers both a PCI Express 5.0 X4 slot as well as a PCI Express 4.0 X4 slot. Of course, you can only either run a Gen 5 drive or a Gen 4 drive here, not both. The bottom heatsink covers two more slots, which are both PCI Express 4.0 X4. There's also another M.2 slot in the middle of the board, which is PCI Express 4.0 X4, but it does not feature a heatsink. So in total, you have 5 M.2 slots, but like I said, you can only use 4 at the same time. Towards the edge of the board, there is an M.2 Wi-Fi slot if you wanted to add Wi-Fi to the board, and an EDP slot if you wanted to connect something like an external display. As far as expansion slots go, you have a single PCI Express 5.0 X16 slot, two PCI Express 4.0 X16 slots, which are X4 electrical, and a single PCI Express 3.0 X1 slot. The top slot does feature ASRock's steel slot metal reinforcement. When it comes to the rear I/O, you have an integrated I/O shield, which also has the same type of graffiti design as the rest of the board. As far as ports go, you have HDMI display ports, two USB 2.0 ports, two USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, one's Type A and one's Type C, four more USB 2.0 ports, four USB 3.2 Gen 1 ports, 2.5 gig LAN, two more USB 3.2 Gen 2 ports, again, one's Type A and one's Type C, and then you have your audio connections. With 14 USB ports available on the rear I/O plus plenty available via headers, you aren't going to run out of USB ports anytime soon. When it comes to RGB lighting, there's just a strip that goes up half of the front edge of the board. This will provide some good underglow, but I think for a board like this with its crazy design, I would have liked to see just a little bit more RGB lighting. as we come to the end here, I really like this LiveMixer series from ASRock. I think, you know, with all the motherboard brands, they all have like their series of motherboards and we kind of know what to expect. So it's really nice to see something new here. And I think that ASRock really made these boards stand out with this graffiti style design. Again, this is something that I've never seen on motherboards before, and I've been reviewing motherboards for a long time. I think the thing that only really comes to mind is the old school DFI LAN party boards that had a bunch of crazy colors on them. I mean, these just look awesome. They're going to look awesome in your system. You know, and again, these are really designed for streamers, podcasters, content creators. So I think they have added a few features that really cater to those type of people. I think the biggest one here is that you're going to get a ton of USB ports, 14 on the rear I/O plus a bunch available via header. So when it comes to, you know, adding webcams, all of your gaming devices, stream decks, microphones, all that stuff, you will have more than enough available ports on this board, which is awesome. You're also going to get Gen 5 storage, which again is kind of common again when it comes to the Z790 chipset, but you do get the Gen 5 storage, which means loading up games and things like that is going to be extremely quick. Of course, you get PCI Express 5.0 on that graphics card as well. But the only things that I really would have liked to have seen with this board, one is included Wi-Fi. You're only getting 2.5 gig LAN on here, and I just would have liked to have seen at least Wi-Fi 6, if not Wi-Fi 6E on this. And then maybe possibly a better audio solution. But I think for what it's priced at and everything like that, I think this is a really good board. And like I said, it's a really unique board as well. If anything, I would really, really like to see, you know, ASRock come out with graphics cards that match these boards. I think these boards are so unique. Adding any graphics card is just not going to look right if it doesn't have the same type of design. So I think that if they, you know, added some graphics cards that have the same type of design, it would totally deck these out and you would buy the motherboard and the graphics card and then you'd have this awesome looking build. But like I said, overall, I do like this motherboard. Now, I'll have links below where you can go ahead and pick this board up. On top of that, we will have a link to our full written review that has all of our benchmarks and everything like that. So if you have any questions about this board, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up. We'll see you guys in the next video.